Hey guys, buy one, get two sale is still happening at theorysabers.com. This is a heavy video. I'm heading to New York tomorrow to hang out with Nick Gillard, so ask your questions down below. Let's get to it.
Fulfill your destiny. theorysabers.com.
There's some interesting evidence regarding this Obi-Wan Kenobi Season 2. I've been recording lore videos for the last several hours, so we're going to bang this one out too, this news video, and give you my thoughts. I'm probably going to rip into it pretty hard. Let's get to this. According to leaker Daniel Richman, a second season of Obi-Wan Kenobi is now in development at Disney+, but there's no firm timeline as of now. This is just a rumor for now, but Richman has correctly predicted other big reveals like the return of Taskmaster in Thunderbolts, Professor X cameo, Professor X candidate right here. Before we get on to reading more of this interview from Inverse, now Forbes has covered this, MSN has covered this, it's getting around. Time for me to talk about it. Do we want a Kenobi Season 2? Yeah. Made by Deborah Chow and Joby Harold? No. It takes a certain level of a lack of understanding of Star Wars and a sniffing of one's farts to be able to absolutely destroy Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor reprising the roles as Anakin and Obi-Wan, and then also bringing Darth Vader in the mix in probably the most interesting time of Star Wars, which is in between Episode 3 and 4. And I think that Joby Harold and Deborah Chow have that fart-sniffing ability, you know, where they just get high on their own brew, and they have literally destroyed something that could have been so freaking amazing. Don't get me wrong, there were cool parts about Kenobi, but that is solely because of Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor and Darth Vader that George Lucas created, not because of Joby Harold and Deborah Chow, who took the original trilogy movies treatment script from Stuart Beattie, who I interviewed, which was an absolute masterpiece, and they took parts of it and literally dumbed it down and made just weird crap that was undeniably not Darth Vader, not Anakin Skywalker, not Obi-Wan Kenobi, but I digress. It's been more than 3 years since the first season of Obi-Wan, and a lot of fans were beginning to lose their only hope. Lost that a long time ago. When it came out on physical media, instead of saying the complete first season like on Season 1 releases on Andor or Ahsoka, it was called the complete series, seemingly closing the door to any future seasons, which also begs the question, Acolyte, which you guys have heard me talk about, got $250 million or $300-something million. Andor got $750 million. Obi-Wan Kenobi got $90 million. I mean, heck, you guys should be giving Hayden $30 million, Ewan $30 million, and then the rest of the project should be like $250 million at least.
I built this shit. Me.
The fact that Disney is spending almost $1 billion on 2 seasons of Andor and giving like a tenth of that to the most important characters and the most important actors in Star Wars today, Obi-Wan and Anakin, Ewan and Hayden, is beyond me. I don't understand it, and I probably never will. So I'm hoping that if we do get a Season 2, it'll be done by Stuart Beattie, someone competent, someone who understands the characters, someone who respects George Lucas, and also for them to invest in a gimbal. I think that would be really important. If you don't know what a gimbal is, Google it. So much of Obi-Wan Kenobi was spent hyping up the final confrontation between Obi-Wan and Vader. Now, 3 years later, Hayden Christensen is a familiar sight thanks to his appearances in Ahsoka and Season 2 of it, which is coming soon. But a lot of talks are going around on Reddit regarding this rumor, and as I said, Forbes is covering all these guys. It's becoming talk of the town, and like I said, you know, back in the day, I used to be extremely excited when they would be making a new Star Wars project. And at this point, I'm like, do we want that? Because time and time again, we just keep getting let down. And how do you destroy two, or like let down two characters so prominent as Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi? I don't know. It might as well have been the Reva show. And might I also add, I'm really tired of this common trope and theme with Star Wars, to the Disney Star Wars, where you have a heroic character that went through their journey with George Lucas's stories, whether it be Luke, Obi-Wan, Anakin, whatever. Then you bring them back, you make them disillusioned, you make them lose their way again, back to essentially the beginning, and then they have to find their way through very like elementary level writing and story progression, basically just focusing on Reva, and have them find their way again. And I find this to be so redundant, so lame. We see it so many times with Disney Star Wars. Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, Boba Fett. I mean, Obi-Wan. Can they just progress? Can they just continue on the path that George put them on? You don't have to like make your own thing, and that's the theme. He didn't know his way, and he found his way again. Okay, in Obi-Wan's case, I can understand, because of Order 66, all that stuff. But that also was the thing about Obi-Wan. If you've ever read the books, he was still faithful to the Jedi. He was still faithful to his faith, to the Force. What they're doing is just, it's very elementary. Build him up, like George did, crash him down, like Disney does, and then now let's build him up a little bit. But he's still not to where he was when George made him. It's, I don't agree with it. So, look, if we're going to get a season 2, great, cool. But let's have someone competent write it that knows these characters, loves these characters, and doesn't want to just lick the frickin' piece of fruit and put it back on the stand to say, I did that one. You know, the budget is what really blows my mind. I just can't get over it. You know, $1 billion for Andor, almost 750 mil, 300 something mil, 250 mil for Acolyte, 90 million for Obi-Wan Kenobi. Why? Why do you do that? Give Hayden 30, give Ewan 30, and then just another 250 million on the rest of the show. To me, I find it confusing. I don't really understand it, and I don't think I ever will. Having interviewed Stuart Beattie was probably a very big highlight for me in terms of just talking to someone competent who I feel could run a lot of story groups at Lucasfilm. The story group they have there right now, I don't feel confident in whatsoever, and I think they probably need to be, they need a refresher on what George Lucas Star Wars is, and I think Stuart Beattie has that definitely in the bag. So are we gonna get a season 2? If we do, please just hire some new people, some competent people, people that really care about the story and the characters, just like George did, and continue them along the same path. So if you're not gonna do that, I got bad news for you. I don't think it's gonna be well received. Now, they could jangle keys, like Mahler always says. And, I mean, shit, that gets me every time. But these are keys that George Lucas created, like putting Qui-Gon Jinn at the end. Emotional, but does it make it good? No. In the moment, it's emotional as shit, because you're seeing these characters once again. But is it really good? Does it make sense for them to return? Like, for example, Qui-Gon shouldn't have returned. There was no reason for him to be in his corporeal form. That was the whole point, is that he never completed his training before he died, and he was just a voice. That was it. But Disney came along and changed it around. Now, there was a concept in episode 3 when Obi-Wan falls on Utapau during Order 66, and he actually is supposed to speak with the ghost of Obi-Wan, of Qui-Gon Jinn, which would have been cool. But this is how George wanted it. At the end of the film, when Yoda was speaking, he was meditating, he was actually speaking to Qui-Gon, and he couldn't see him because Qui-Gon never finished his training. But Yoda did, and that's kind of the thing, is that Yoda got to complete the training in the afterlife to understand how to bring yourself back as a Force ghost, whereas Qui-Gon didn't because he died early. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think about Obi-Wan Kenobi. Please leave a like. Season 2, I don't know, man. Let's just hire some better people. Love you guys. TheorySabers.com, and I will see you guys in New York.